You're live.
Hello, everybody. My name is Caleb. I am the owner operator of this house of shenanigans. Real quickly, I'm going to run over some events that occurred, and then I'll let these guys kind of get into it a little bit here. Last time, what occurred in the house of shenanigans, our heroes were all beckoned, called to the Iron Bar to meet. They got the call from Uther Cass, something that a lot of aspiring heroes wait a long time to get, sometimes never do. But they all met at the Iron Bar. Usual crowd in there, a lot of heroes telling heroic tales, and a couple of sloppy drunks. One in particular almost got into a little bit of a fisticuff with our party, or our heroes, I should say. But before anything could really break down and deteriorate into any actual violence, outside there was actual violence. A loud boom, an explosion of some sort occurred. They all walked outside to kind of see what had caused this, and that's when they noticed that there were explosions going off as far as they could see through the sprawling city of West Rock. They also found themselves toe to toe throughout the course of the next few interactions, uh, helping friends to help people who could not defend themselves. But for the most part, it seemed like there was a pretty good response from a lot of the natives, or locals, I should probably say. They did also find themselves face to face with a lot of small little fire demons that had an explosive attitude. Um, and though they fought their way through the interactions, they found themselves again trying to go through helping who they could help. They had been given advice from a strange man, this shirtless bro, who was cruising around on this whirling saw blade, who called himself Craig, and somebody who was along with him in almost a full suit of, well-fitting armor, not as loose and baggy as what might traditionally be seen, but this seemed to be a little bit more form-fitting. His name, of course, was Bravo. They acknowledged and pointed out our heroes and said, "Hey, we found you guys. We need you to get to the stockade." Then Craig realized that one was missing. And so Craig asked the heroes if they might be able to go find the other, and said that it was very likely. It seemed like perhaps this has happened before, but the servers got crossed, and instead of going to the Iron Bar, maybe the other hero was at the Iron Pub. Most of our heroes are from in town, not all, but they headed off to the Iron Pub. On the way there, they ran across a couple of these cultists who were just trying to set fire and cause chaos in general. The only thing really of note for them so far was they had a little phrase: the sun will come, the sun will fall, the sun comes for us all. And if they would contact each other, they would seem to quickly decay and then float away into dust. They also came across a almost entirely collapsed building that seemed to be standing on its last leg, but it shouldn't have been standing. One of our heroes was very brave and ultimately snatched out this device called the spatial rod that was in place holding the building up. After it was snatched, the building collapsed. Finally, they made it to the pub, and after fighting a little bit of the fire, half of the party was putting out the flames. The other half was looking for survivors. They found themselves on the second story walk-off roof. They found a young woman laying face down and a robot-looking creature down with its legs underneath it on its knees, kind of bent forward. But at this point, the people were saved, and once more, Craig kind of floated up on his disc, and that's about where we landed after Craig said, "Hey, that's them. Get them to the stockade." Again, my name is Caleb. I am running tonight. With me, I have Eric, Clyde, Jim, and Matt. I will give them an opportunity to describe who they are and go into a little bit of depth of not just their name, but maybe a little bit more about themselves, and then we'll take off. So we'll lead off with the order that I have them here. Eric, if you don't mind.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Eric. I will be playing the friendly neighborhood dragonborn named Argaz. He is a paladin slash samurai. Um, he's grew up in the city pretty much as always. He's just been a loner, roaming the world, but finds himself. He lived here for the majority of the times that the majority of the times he can remember.
Very good. Next, we'll go to Clyde.
Hello, I am Clyde. I will be playing Gardain Firemantle, dwarf cleric. Lived in Restrock most of my life, and respected amongst the stout folk as a good smith. Move on.
Awesome. Let's get Jelly rolling with Jim here.
Hey, Jim, I'm playing the High Elf Mystic, Roland Nilo. I'm the one from outside of town. You'll see me in my hermit's clothes. It's basically my long sleeve tunic and my long pants. I don't wear shoes, and the cuffs of my pants are just stained with mud. However, as I move and teleport around and the wind whips her up, you see that I have a very tight-fitting set of armor that I keep on under my billowy hermit's clothes.
And Mr. Matt.
So, I am playing Jules, the interior decorator and fashion historian. He is dressed impeccably well and has a form-fitting overcoat over his leather-bound armor. He does not like the fact that it does not hug the contours of his body, so he has fashioned or bought this fashionable overcoat to do that for him, and he has a unique ability to appear in people's minds as well as before them physically.
Very good. So we'll just kind of pick up where we were. Craig, obviously, I believe ultimately all four of you ended up on top of this building, and Craig kind of pulled up and stopped, floating there as well. And he had just told you guys, hey, this is the hero you guys are looking for. Get him to the stockade.
Okay. Our guy's looking at everybody else, picking if he can host the heft the guy over his shoulders. He'll look at the other ones getting ready to follow, see if they're following suit.
Okay.
Sorry, real quick. Eric, give me a strength check and put that in the chat for me, please.
Okie dokie.
This is a and how many people are around here again, Caleb?
What do you mean around here?
Like you said, like this is the guy.
Yes, there's a young lady face down and this robot that seems to be almost kind of on his knees in prayer.
Are there more?
That's all that's up here, other than you four.
Okay. This is a halfling woman, and this. Well, I've never. I do not know what this is. And you watch as I'm looking up in Noosphere again, looking for the information. No. I don't know what this is. How are you doing over there picking that one up?
Um,
Looking.
where?
Go
Sorry,
ahead.
go ahead.
No, I was just getting my names down.
Yeah. So, where is the gargoyle? Because as far as I'm concerned, last time we actually ended going towards the Iron Pub with the gargoyle flying before us, and I did not get the memo that we had gotten there and been identified with who our hero was, which is okay. The gargoyle's dead.
Yeah, so the one that you saw that was on the top of that church the first time you saw it, the saw blade of Craig actually coming down to greet you, cut that thing in half.
Right. I must have been a lot out of it. I apologize.
No problem.
So that was something that Jules would have been concerned about, but now that it's dead, he is fine. My new friend is having trouble clearly, and so I will walk over towards this robot, and I would have a good look over him to see what he is and what I understand about their kind.
Sure. So give me a perception check so that you can look at this one specifically. But you, since you're a little more on the high class side, you've seen robots used in a lot of different scenarios. You may have even used some in your work, kind of setting them up as mannequins in the past. A lot of them do labor for the most part. So you're familiar with them, and anybody who's from town is. Go ahead.
Got a 15 on the die.
What'd you get?
15.
Okay. All right. So you can kind of look over this thing, and you see, you actually, since again you're familiar with it, there are some telltale signs for most of the robots that you've ever come in contact with, and it's where their eyes are, their ocular aspect. Are usually lit up. This one's is not.
While they're doing this, I'm going to go over to the civilian, the little halfling girl, and try to wake her, check on her, see if there's anything that I can do to help her.
Cool. As you nudge her, like how vigorous are you attempting?
Starting halflings, I know what they are, but I've not had a lot of experience with them out where I live, and so I'm trying to be gentle, pushing on her shoulder. When she doesn't respond, I'll give it a little bit more effort.
So on the let's say the third try, you finally put a little bit more oomph into it, and she kind of rolls over, and she's this pretty little halfling. She's got real fine features. Most of them have, wider faces. Hers seems to be a little bit more gaunt. She has bags under her eyes and her hair is mussed. But she kind of rolls over and her eyes open wide. And she looks at you for a second and she doesn't react, and she starts kind of looking around. And then she looks up and finally, kind of behind her head, and she sees Craig floating there. And she sits up. She says, Who are you guys?
My name is Roland Nilo, and we are here to help you. Do you need any assistance?
And she holds her arm up, and it's like, okay, if you're here to help me up.
Okay.
And she pops up on her feet, and again, you can tell she's a little drowsy, something. She's a little woozy. Her balance isn't quite right. But she's standing there. And at this, as soon as she stands up, you see Craig flies off and Bravo flies up. And as he's kind of sitting there for a second, he lands on the roof and kind of drops a little burlap sack the size of a coin purse, kind of drops it down and says, "You'll need that at the gate. We're going to take care of the rest of this," and flies off into the sky, where you guys will notice a lot of those spinning vortexes that were sucking smoke. Some of them have started to dissipate. No power cable there.
I'll pick the little burlap sack up and see what's inside.
Cool. Yeah, as you open it up, you see 5 little coins, and each of these coins just has the letter U on it. And then when you flip it over, it's got like almost like a Spartan type helmet profile with the big mohawked fur.
Oh, I was like, well, I'm guessing each of there's one for each of us, and I'll start handing them. I'll hand one to Roland, and then I'll walk over to where when he takes his, then I'll start, walk over to the robot and hand them theirs.
The halfling sees you try to handle it to the robot, and she reaches over and kind of grabs it. She says, "I didn't see you guys in the bar. I guess you guys got the call."
We were actually on our way to the bar when all this started happening.
It's pandemonium. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this so close to home.
I've never seen anything like this anywhere. Wait, you hear the voice?
Sure. That's why we're all here at the Iron Pub. Told us to be here.
And I get very interested. After having seen these other three people that I'm with, and what they can do, and their immense strength and taking care. I feel like they've taken care of me. I look at her and I go, "What do you do?"
And an arrow flies out of the sky. And she kind of laughs and she says, "I mostly sleep." And she kind of extends her hand and says, Rosalind Moon."
Rosalind, nice to meet you. Shaking her hand. As I said, I am Roland, and this is Jules. And I think this one said his name is Argaz. And I never got. I've not heard your name, sir. Looking over at our dwarf.
My name is Gardane.
Gardane. I am Roland. Yes. This is good. We're meeting each other. Yes, this is good.
Argaz, pardon me a minute. Argaz putting his hand on who's the one that's standing near the halfling, or that's in talking to the halfling?
Roland.
Argaz puts his hand on Roland's shoulder and he says, "We need to invite her. Go."
I'll look at it. Is this robot yours?
You can see her. She's stretching real big, hands, extended over her head, wiggling around. "Oh, he'll be up in a minute. He'll introduce himself then." And finally, one more time, she reaches down and she touches her toes, and she walks over and she sees Jules kind of looking at the robot. That says, "Excuse me, do you mind?"
I bow gracefully and step out of her way.
And you see Rosalind kind of walk over to the backside of it, and she takes her hands and she runs it down what would be the spine of this robot. And what it does is that these plates kind of mechanically shift out, and underneath it you see this button. It's not a big red button or anything like that. It's just there's this button here, and she goes and she puts her thumb on it and she holds it down for a second, and she's kind of looking at you guys and whistling and like, just a sec. She sits there and she presses it 3 or 4 times, and then finally she presses down, and it's like, come on. And then the robot snaps up and stands up, and its back actually flays open, and she climbs into the back of it and gets inside of it, and she takes these wires that seem to be hanging down, and she suction cups a couple of them to her head and to her body, and then the back of this thing closes as she's putting the last couple of on, and then you hear this and the eyes light up.
Rosalind?
And the robot turns around. Hi.
Hi.
I'm Sorrow.
Sorrow? What happened to Rosalind?
She is asleep now.
What did you do to her? And I'm starting to reach for my hand for my crossbow.
Jules stands in between them, and he sort of smiles and he says, "She's fine. It didn't do anything to her. She's the power source or the mind behind the machine."
When she dreams, I am here. We all live in her dreams.
Looking to the other 3 of you, I think we found someone more strange than me.
Well, the day is still young. Let's see if we can't find somebody weirder. And I'll hand Jules and our guys their coins. Here, these were dropped for us.
Our guys takes it and nods.
So these coins, what's the go with those?
So I would say that how long has Jules been waiting for the call?
See, the thing is, he hasn't necessarily been waiting. Like, he thought that it might happen, but he's like, if it does or when it does, it does. His friend Esmeralda has been waiting for the call.
Great.
And she's been a lot more, keen about it than he has.
So I would say, because you two are so close, you know that Esmeralda would have told you exactly what this thing is. This is the entry token. You take this, you take the initiate test. If you pass, you're in.
All right. Cool. So there's one for each hero.
Correct.
Okay. And so, I'll take mine. That's cool. And there's no leftovers. There's exactly the right amount.
Yeah, there's one for each of you.
Beautiful. I look to is it Sorrow or Zaro?
Sorrow, Sroow, or excuse me, Sorrow.
Yep.
Sorrow.
So I look over to Sorrow and I say, "Are you fully functioning?"
Not at this time. Auxiliary functions working, movement online.
Is there anything we can do to assist?
The further Rosalind falls asleep, the more powered I will become. It is a matter of time.
Well, I have. I go and I set up the cask of ale. I can help her with that.
And Sorrow looks at it and he pulls out his hand, expecting you to hand him a cup. Or a cup.
I'll pour some in my mug, and then I'll hand him the cask because I think his hand may be big enough for that.
And he actually will turn his hand and lift it up and take a drink. And as he drinks a little bit of it and then hands it back out to you, you see it run into his mouth, and almost like a skull without the bottom of it starts to kind of pour over the front of its body, which is, now that you're actually looking at it, you guys would notice that looks like metal, but it's not acting like metal. There's a certain way that armor looks when it has ale spilled on it, and it does not seem to give you that same glimmer.
Huh. Well, we'll discuss you a little more. Onwards to to turn these tokens in.
Argo's, watching the robot very cautiously, and then once he finds out, he feels it's not very threatening. He's very, even though I guess machines have has leaded to a lot of things in this world about, oh yeah, it seemed harmless enough, but yeah, Argos is very wary of these types of machines.
How does that come out? Like, explain to me what that looks like.
Well, when she gets in the machine and all of a sudden it powers up, and he kind of like Rowan did, he puts his hand on the sword on his side, and listening to him talk, like, the more she becomes asleep, the more powerful I'll be. He kind of is very wary of that. Almost when the dwarf, when Gardane goes to give him a drink, he wants to grab the mug and say, "I wouldn't do that if I was you." It's like, he's trying to get where he's more trusting of people other than just being, such a a grump. But once he will tell Gardane that until we know Yori more about her, don't. And he points to the ale that he tried to give her.
Gardane, make just a flat wisdom check.
4.
All right. There's something ticking at the back of your head, but you just can't seem to pull it forth.
Swing and a miss,
All
brother.
right.
Swing and a miss.
And so Sorrow looks at you guys and says, "Shall we?"
again, I bow gracefully and gesture to lead the way.
All right, so you guys can
Yeah.
go back through the stairs and go downstairs. You can jump off the top. Go ahead, Eric. Didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, I was going to say I'm going the quickest way there. Not jumping down, of course, but I mean, even though superhero landing would be awesome.
Yeah, I'll go back down the stairs. Wait, yeah, down the stairs.
I will take the stairs.
All right, yeah, and kind of the last one. Are Jules? Are you doing stairs as well?
Oh yeah.
Cool. As you guys kind of step out, you actually see and feel this big thud as Sorrow just sort of stepped off the top of the building and landed hard, and for a second kind of stays down in a crouched landing position and then almost mechanically stands back up.
She stole my idea. She needs to do
Okay, great.
superhero landing.
So everybody knows how to get to the stockade. You guys have seen it. It's actually it's closer to the Iron Bar than it is the Iron Pub. So you guys would walk up that direction, and then it is roughly a mile and a half, 2 miles, 45 minutes to an hour or so outside of West Rock. I don't know where it's at. So if that's where you guys want to go, what I would like for you guys to do now is give me, this is where I want you guys to, get to know each other a little bit. Turn the music low, dim the lights,
I need
get
an
to know
adult.
one another.
I need an adult.
I'll even say that you guys have actually cleared all the way. You guys are just breaking out of town. This is just an open town. There's not gates or walls or anything. It's a big grassy meadow type field with scattered trees and things like that. But for the most part, it's just tall grass, and you know where you're going.
And so there's no sign of these red demons either?
No, other than what they, the kind of the destruction that they had caused, some of the explosion. None of the cultists are around anymore. And as you kind of step out into this field, you start to see the last few spirals in the sky dissipate. And now it's almost like 3:30 in the afternoon. So the sun comes out and it's a nice day, clear sky.
All right. So as we're walking, I look to these new companions and I say, any of you worried about all these folk that had their livelihood destroyed? I feel a bit strange going back to the stockade. I mean, it's going to be great, I'm sure, but perhaps someone's going to help, but I feel strange just walking away like this.
I had heard that West Rock was a much safer place than this.
Oh, believe me, it is. I've lived here for, well, almost as long as I can remember. And man, I don't recall there being nothing like a day like this.
I wouldn't wish this on anyone.
I guess that's why they call for us. Maybe something big's coming. I don't know.
Well, I've been here for quite a while myself. And if we maybe getting part of this will help us prevent it from happening again. But after that, I'm still gonna come back and see if some of my neighbors are okay.
Our guys, listening to listens to the three, just more interested in taking up the conversation that they're having. Considering he didn't really much have a livelihood here, other than kind of just being a sellsword in a way. Not really got anybody close.
Jules consoles himself by sort of saying, well, I'm sure Esmeralda will give them a hand. She's been waiting for that call for, well, at least the last year. And well, it hasn't come yet. And perhaps she's hoping that by helping out those good folk, that the call will come. And for her sake, I hope it does.
So, while we travel, there are people still in the town who are already beginning to rebuild, and there are numerous heroes in waiting that are just waiting for the call. I wouldn't want to go back to West Rock anytime soon. I feel as though returning would have many people not like us, especially those who knew we got the call.
Well, West Rock is my home. Like me or not, I'm coming back to my home. The people that live next to me, who help, especially some of the younger kids who want to take up apprenticeship, I have a job to do.
I'm sure but think of how we're going to be seen coming back into town at some point, that after this event that's happened that no one can remember happening in recent history, and before it was all finished, congratulations, 5 heroes, and they got to leave town.
I hear you, Roland. One of those things about people is that they're mighty resilient, and when they're faced with something that's part of the status quo, some of them, they accept it, and others, they get angry. And I don't know why this has happened, and I don't feel quite right, but I don't imagine that not doing this will be a good thing. I think we got to do this and see, and maybe we can tell them a thing or two about these people and stand up and advocate, because I sure don't want to go down without a fight, without helping out around this town that I know so well.
Geez, I guess just wouldn't heroes stay and help? I mean, I don't know what I mean.
Well, just look at it this way right here. We're not running from the town. We're going to a place to be tempered, and when we've been tempered well enough, then we will come back to West Rock as as a way to defend it. So don't look at it so much as running as we're going to learn to get better.
I see what you're saying, but couldn't we learn to get better after helping the people when they need us?
Argaz, he says, there's a story of a samurai, of the man that taught me my sword. Um, in my youth, I wondered why he never fought, why he always would rather be diplomatic in his life. He would rather talk it out than fight until the day that he is forced to use his sword. We could stay and we can help build a town. And what if this happens again? Then we stay here, rebuild the town. People who sit and wait, they waste their innocent, their destiny. When she calls, always answer her.
Sorrow pipes up and says, Roslyn says that Craig and Bravo are from the stockade. Perhaps after time, we ourselves will be given opportunity and leave to protect those who need it. And sorry, real quick, Matt, based on the check there, that story that Argaz just told, you've heard a version of that story, except it wasn't samurai, it was dwarf.
Are you talking to Matt or was it me?
Sorry, that was for Gardain.
I've heard that story before. Slightly different telling, but it's the same thing.
He just gives you a blank. He just kind of gives you an interesting kind of look before it's like many tales have different stories. It's what he thinks in his head.
I also heard a tale just like that one, but the man had a green velvet robe. It was trimmed in a lovely brass, and the brass clasped the robe together. But anyway, I know that it doesn't seem right to just walk away when destruction like that is right before our eyes. It don't feel right in my heart. But there are those that I know who will rise up and who will assist. And it is our part to assist in a different way. And that way is to become one of those who is empowered to fight, who is empowered to be above the common man and strive for ever closer to perfection and and a better world, not just a better now.
I shake my head to myself, still kind of looking down at where I'm stepping and looking up at the Noosphere and look back down and go, I've heard all your stories. None of them are true. No, but they're good stories. And go back down to watching my steps.
So at this point, Gardane and Roland, actually, Roland, based on what you said, not you, just Gardane, you see overhead there are birds kind of circling off in the distance.
Does it look like a natural pattern or unnatural?
You give me a nature check.
Nature. 2.
Yeah, as far as you know.
I just look up and then look at everybody. Look up at the birds as they're swirling around. Doesn't look very threatening to us. And continue walking on to just there's birds.
Birds. And seeing this, can I assess what this might mean?
Yeah. As it's pointed out, anybody who looks up could roll nature if they like.
I look up, I stop, I reach out. Not the Mighty Deuce this time. 11.
So yeah, you recognize these are vultures and they're circling, which would tell you that there is a dead carcass. So
Cool.
Underneath where they're circling.
Then I will point out that those are vultures, and they're circling, so they must there must be a carcass or something about to die.
Then I guess let's go find out what's over there. Can't hurt us to take a little detour.
You want to go see something dead?
Well, I mean, I know it sounds a little morbid, but you never know.
Okay.
Some people could have actually got out this far.
Caleb, I'd like to, if you'll allow it, I'd like to make a nature roll to try to think of out here in this part of the woods, in this part of the world, if there was something that would die, the vultures would circle. What could it possibly be? Like squirrels? Do we have deer in this part of the world?
Yeah, I would say you can make that with advantage since you are familiar with the outskirts.
The Mighty Deuce and a 4. So
A 4?
well, I rolled a 2 and a 4, so it's a 9.
Cool. Well, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff out here.
Okay.
I mean, it could be some of there's a lot of grazing animals, like you said. There are, this place is kind of a hot spot of all kinds of life, things that, and something you're very familiar with, things that may not always be, standard to a grassland are out here. There are, you know, anything, like I say, from elk to buffalo type creatures, other grazers like that. There are um, obviously your predators. Most of them, for the most part, they are smaller predators, as the larger ones have kind of been eradicated or pushed further out from the town. So there's like jackals and coyotes,
Yeah.
wolves further, but not necessarily where you're at, and definitely not as close as you are to the path to the stockade. But yeah, there's wildlife out here. So
Okay. Well, then I relay that. Say it's probably not anything too dangerous, so there's nothing wrong with checking it out if you want to check it out.
I don't fancy getting my clothes dirty, but yeah, you can go near there, and I'll just stand back and watch your back. I suppose.
That's fine.
I guess whatever does it for you, you know.
I touch my head, pull it back out, grasp again, and I've changed my proficiency to survival.
Well, if y'all want to wait here, I'll be back in just a minute.
Oh, I'm going with you.
I'm following in behind the dwarf.
and it's a little bit further ahead, and slightly, maybe 50 feet off the path to the left. But it's definitely, the path itself is beaten down and kind of been turned into this dirt trail, whereas the grass on either side of it would definitely be taller than Rosalind if she was not in sorrow.
So I'll look at the other two.
Oh, I'm going with you.
Okay. If either of you are proficient at moving without making sounds, you might want to go away from me, because I'm going to clank all the way there.
I look at the dwarf. At my armor, I go, God.
Do you want me to be quiet about this?
Well, that depends on what you want, because it could be a dead animal, it could be whatever. I'm just giving you an option to survive or not, because if you follow me, it could be a fool's errand.
I will survive. I'm not concerned. And I will start heading that direction and looking for potential tracks or maybe some signs of what it is, so that we're not surprised when we get up to it.
And is there like a rock or like a tree stump or something that Jules might be able to stand on top of to watch as they're going in that direction or something? If not, that's fine.
Yeah, no, sure. I would say the side of the trail, definitely. As this is kind of going up, that the stockade itself actually sits kind of on the corner of a bluff. So you're kind of walking up a slow incline. So yeah, you would start to see rocks protruding. So there would definitely be one that you might have to try and balance yourself on it. But yeah.
Okay, I'll do that.
And survival check whenever you're good, Jim. And perception check for Jules.
All right. 20 total.
Cool. You can tell pretty easily that you're the first one that's knocking down the grass and making it walkable. So nothing has come along this path recently. as far as tracks and things like that, just the stuff that I had mentioned before, things that would have just been passing through, and every once in a while you hit a spot that looks like it's been grazed down by maybe 2 or 3 mounts, and then it walked on.
Okay. So there's
And-
nothing to know. Got it.
And Jules, from where you're at, you can kind of see up ahead. You can spot the head of Roland as he's walking through, and you kind of notice a lot of the same stuff. A little bit further off in the distance, in a tree, you can see, the vague shape of what looks like maybe a group of monkeys or something like that playing around, but they don't seem to notice you at all.
Right. Yeah. Well, I just scan the horizon while they're going to investigate this, just in case. I mean, it's been a very strange day, and perhaps I'm a little bit uneasy, so I'm just like making sure that we're all good.
So
And Sorrow's definitely sticking with you. He's going to just kind of stand next to you because, again, his systems are not fully booted.
So once we are heading there, I kind of hold my hand in front of the dwarf and tell him, let me go first to get closer to it. I was like, because if it's carrion and it's anything that's evil, fiend, or undead, I can sense those type of things. So
I've seen dead bodies before.
he kind of rubs his the gold they hang from his maw. He goes, that's not what I meant.
I'll
That's all.
I'll walk by making about as much noise as a wagon with pots on it.
I got to do this. It's not about stealth.
So you do not sense anything other than maybe some the lingering tinge in the air from the city, but nothing in your direct area is
No, I'm
setting
talking
off
about-
your spidey sense.
No, I'm talking about once we get closer to it. Like once it gets in the circle of the 60 feet that I can do, that's when I'm going to do it.
It was in it when you were on the road.
Oh, okay. Well,
It would have been.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
assuming that it's directly underneath the vultures.
Oh.
So as you guys are starting to approach, and even from where you are on top of the rock, Jules, you hear this wait, and across the front of you, this pig kind of knocks down some of the brush, and you can see small tusks starting to grow out, but it just runs across in front of you, kind of off in another direction, and it's smaller.
Okay. Well, that just happened. Moving on.
Cool. So you guys
Never been
finally
surprised by
break
things
in.
before.
Well, boo.
Yeah.
So finally, you guys kind of make it into this clearing, and it's not. I wouldn't even say it's a clearing. It's maybe like a 20-foot circle. That in the middle of it, you see this boar kind of over on its side that had been gutted and chewed on and kind of torn apart a little bit, and standing right over the top of it is a vulture kind of picking at it.
Seeing this and not thinking any big deal, I'll just turn around and say to the guys behind me, it is just a vulture eating a pig.
Everybody make a perception check for me. Jules, you can do it at advantage. Cool. So everybody but Roland, as he turns around to make this statement, you start to see these vultures are actually circling and making their way down. And the vulture that's standing, the three that are actually closer, the vulture that's standing over the top of the dead boar carcass spreads its wings out real wide and notices you and kind of caws, threatening it, kind of defensively at you.
Argos seeing that they're threatening or whatever, I kind of motion for them to move back behind me, and if they do so, I'll slowly inch my way back with me facing them with my back to my party. In case they start to charge, I'm going to have me roasted bird.
Well, I'm not fighting vultures for pig. If that's all it is.
What? I'll turn around and see this and go. Just you. Let's see. I've currently got stealth up, survival. So I will make an attempt to calm it down since it looks threatening.
Okay. Animal handling?
Yep. $11.
It doesn't necessarily back down. There's not a lot of dead stuff around here all the time. So vultures are scavengers, and this is something that they're going for.
Cool.
So, but it is just kind of standing there. Jules, at this point, the three that were circling overhead, one of them, they'd all kind of started spiraling down almost in order, where it's almost like they're going down a spiral staircase. And the one that is the highest, you can see it begin to kind of dive bomb down.
Okay. So I'm about 50 feet away at this stage, right? You said?
Yep.
Okay. 50 feet. I will call out a warning to my friends, to my new friends, and just say, those look dangerous! Be on your guard or get back here.
Right at the end of that call, let's go ahead and roll initiative. All right. This one that comes dive bombing down is actually going to come right after you, Roland. And it is going to come down and swoop, attempting to peck at you as it does so, making a beak attack at you. And it swoops by and tries to hit you, but it was ascending from such a height that it whiffs and flies circles kind of back up into the sky.
Gotcha. Seeing that, assessing the situation real quick, I'm going to bonus action switch my focus over to my bow, over to my nomadic arrow, and interact with my crossbow to pull it out. Move. I'm going to take a shot at it as it starts to fly away from me. $15.
That's a hit.
Sweet. It's going to be 4 piercing damage.
Right.
And remembering that one of the heroes said to get behind him, I will move 5 feet further than he is behind me. So if he's like 10 feet behind me, I'll just move 15 feet.
All right. Okay. Very good. That will bring us to Jules.
Wow. With a 9. Okay. So the vultures are mostly in the air at this stage, or there's one that's on the actual carcass, but the ones that were dive bombing, they're all still.
There's one of them. One of them has dive bombed and started kind of angling back up. The other 2 are still spiraling down, and one is on the carcass.
All right. Seeing this, Jules is unsure about what he's going to do, but he will attempt to cast sleep at a point in the air, so that he'll get the ones that are dive bombing. So the range is 90 feet. I can easily get to where I want it. And I will roll my dice. And to everyone else, oh gosh, I'll describe it in a moment as I roll my dice.
What is the bubble that fits into?
It's a 20-foot point from point that I choose within range.
Okay, so all 3 that are in the air will actually, you could target a point there that would get 3 of them.
Yeah. So. I rolled pretty well. 26 in total. 26 hit points in total. So let's see. So everyone will hear Jules's voice calling out this warning. And then as the warning stops and as one dive bombs and misses and flies up into the air, they hear this melody coming from the direction, but it sounds like it's right where they are instead of coming from a distance, and it rises almost from the ground itself and starts very thinly and then gets louder as it gets higher, and it's at its loudest at the point that I've chosen. And what happens? How many of these things fall, if any?
What was your total one more time?
I believe I said 26.
Yeah, I thought you did too. Just checking. Cool. So the two that are spiraling down and the one that was hit all just drop their wings. They don't seem to be soaring on updrafts or anything. All three of them plummet to the earth.
Okay. Now, so each creature affected falls unconscious until the spell ends. The sleeper takes damage, or someone uses an action to shake or slap the sleeper awake. So when they hit the ground, if they fall more than 10 feet, they'll obviously take the falling damage. And when they hit the ground, the sleep will automatically stop because it stops as soon as they take damage. But they'll effectively be prone on the ground.
Very good. So yeah, they all. Two of them that are higher up actually, because of their pattern of spiraling, they kind of, instead of continuing their turn, the two kind of fly off or fall into the tall grass, whereas the one that was escaping, Roland, falls into that same little cleared out area. Anything else you'd like to do?
Seeing them just fall like stones out of the air, Jules sort of smiles to himself, and he calls out again, and he says, "Never mind."
Great. All right. So that would pull us around to Argaz.
Okay, so how many vultures have splat on the ground?
Two have fallen off into the taller grass. There is the one that's awake with its wings outstretched defensively, and another just landed in front of you and is getting up to its feet.
Okay, so Argaz is going to. Is there a way Argaz can maneuver himself to hit the ones that? Because it's a 15-foot cone. So what I'm wanting to do is to hit all the ones that are on the ground. Is that possible?
You do not have line of sight to the two that fell in the tall grass, but yeah, you could get the other two in your cone.
Could I make a perception to see about where they fell?
I mean, you have a general idea that it is kind of off in the grass. How a 15-foot cone? I don't think. If you got right up on it, you have the idea that it looked like it fell further than your.
Okay.
I'm thinking it's your breath weapon. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So you would definitely be able to get two. You're unsure about a third.
Oh yeah. So I'm guessing I'm getting the one in front of me plus the one that's doing the wing spread out thing. Yeah. Okay. So all right, they need to make me a dexterity saving throw, DC 12.
They have failed.
Okay, and they will take 7 points of damage.
All right. What type of dragon are you?
Gold dragon.
All right. So if they're taking 7, let's put it this guy. You have killed one and drastically injured the one that just fell. Or excuse me, that's the one that you killed, and the one that was in that defensive pose. It looks hurt. Give me an idea of kind of what that looks like.
So obviously they're like he was going to leave them alone if they're just because they're wild animals, they're but once they decide to dive bomb us, he kind of almost like in anger, like just inhales deeply, but kind of like it make him think he's breathing in deep to calm himself. But when he does, he just opens his eyes, and when he opens his eyes, it's just a burning, molting. It looks like literally molting pools of gold, and steam comes from under his jaws, and he just opens his mouth, and it just a blast of fire, just a whole cone of almost like a flamethrower goes out. It burns one, almost incinerates one, and the other one barely gets out of the way.
Very cool. Yeah, and it scorches the downed boar as well, so you can kind of smell the charcoal flesh, a little bit of that, along with the other vulture that had fallen. Anything else you'd like to do?
No.
All right, Gardane.
Uh, well, I'm going to say, since they're not going to give us a chance to get they don't seem like they're interested in letting us go. Oh, I'm going to actually, you know what? Well, yeah, I'm going to try to sacred flame the one that has kept his wings up. So if he's within 60 feet of me, if he's not, then I'll move forward. Maybe if I can scare him off, they'll go away.
Yeah, he is.
Okay. What is that? Dexterity DC 13.
All right, that's a 14 on this side, so he is able to maneuver out of the way.
Okay, then I do no damage to him. So I'm going to, since my little fire thing didn't work, I'm going to back away from him. Maybe if I just back up, he'll go away.
Awesome. And everybody make a perception check for me, please. And we will cut to commercial briefly. One moment. Thank you for your patience, everybody. And it looks like Matt is still out of pocket for just a second, so we will wait on him.
Alrighty.
And just kind of a side note for Gardane, um, that itching feeling that you kind of had in the back of your head, it kind of pulls a little bit closer, seeing the actions of Argaz, sort of the protective nature, putting his hand out and stepping forth. There's something very familiar. You have never met this fine dragonborn creature. There's something very familiar about how he's handling this so far. Just as a side note. All right. And so I would say that Jules, again, your vantage point should offer you advantage. So go ahead and roll another one there for me. Cool. Let me see. Probably cool. You would actually kind of turn to you. Sorrow says, "Did you see that?" And he kind of points out towards the grass line. And as far as everybody else, let's start from the bottom. Now we're here. Roland, having stepped back a little bit into the grass itself, what are your active proficiencies currently?
Oh, let me pull that. My active proficiencies are animal handling, arcana, history, insight, medicine, perception, religion, and survival.
Okay. I would say that you would. There is a sense around you. It almost feels like the grass itself. It sounds like a breeze has blown some of this tall grass. However, you feel no breeze. Gardane and Argaz, you guys have hear from both sides kind of waddling sounds coming from either side through this tall grass. So now we are back to the top of initiative, and springing out from either side are both of these vultures. So one of them will actually dive in and, or not dive, but kind of lunge out towards Argaz first in an attempt to make a peck at you. Let me see, where's your
peck at you?
Yeah, get your Pokeballs. There's a Pikachu out here.
In the tall grass, it's dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah. Dun dun dun. Dun, dun, dun. So he takes a peck and he actually hits you for 3 damage. It doesn't surprise you in any way, shape, or form, because, like I said, you kind of sensed it coming. But it did come out and give you a real nasty peck. As this thing again kind of flaps its wing and looks to take flight, how does this look? If you're there, Argaz.
My freaking headset was turned all the way down. When I took it off, I did not hear a thing. I thought everybody was still BRB.
So your perception check, you heard the sound of the grass rustling from the left and the right, and one of the birds just jumped out of the tall grass and kind of came by and lunged out and pecked at you for 3 damage, and is now looking like it's trying to take flight. I was just asking what it looked like.
Oh, well, of course, the bird totally did not get caught in the flamethrower of death. Managed to stealth its way through the grass like the dark ninja that he is, possibly trained by the Dark Knight himself. And all of a sudden, just like almost like if anybody's ever been hunting and a quail just comes out of freaking nowhere and startles the shit out of you. That's pretty much what happens to our guys. Like he's sitting there and he's like, almost ready to strike, and next thing he knows, he hears a rustling in a rustle, and he looks, and all of a sudden the quail / vulture flies out at him, and he almost freaking loses himself because he was not expecting it. Just comes out, pecks him right across the his scales in his face, and just barely knocking the bird away before he hits anything to cause any serious harm to him. As the bird hits him and lands on the ground and starts trying to flap to get away. I think that's what you mean, right? They're trying to get away and stuff? Okay, good. That's how it happens.
And it actually finally kind of flaps its wings and gets up in the air and moves out of your space. You can take an attack of opportunity if you'd like.
Oh, woo! 13. A very catchy number. Does 13 hit him?
Yeah, it does. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. If 13 hits him, it's 10 points of damage.
Great. Yeah, as this thing's trying to fly away, are you using your katana here?
Yeah, because he was he had it ready because he's like this bird standing here all kung fu the reckoning on him, and when he hits it, the bird jumps out of the brush on him and gets him in the face, and he just barely knocks him, kind of just swats him down a little bit. When he tries to run, he kind of aggravates him, and he kind of takes in one motion, kind of flipping the blade over and just stabbing the bird down in the ground. Just ready for something else to happen.
Sweet. And that something else happens next as the bird from the left side comes actually flying through the tall grass already in the air, and it reaches out and tries to peck Gardain. You avoid this peck as it's just kind of getting its wings under it, and it flies back up into the sky, kind of rounding a little bit. It is super fast, and you do not have an opportunity attack on it. The other one that is on the ground that originally had its wings spread out kind of repositions itself, trying to look big. Again, it's food, so it's not running off just yet. So that brings us to
cool. I'm gonna aim for the furthest one away.
All right, that would be the one that is that has gone flying back into the sky, or attempting to make some time.
Perfect. That's what I'm shooting for.
Okay.
Aim that crossbow, track it, pull that trigger. Woo! 19 on the die.
That'll hit.
For a whole whopping 4 more piercing damage.
All right. That actually, and once again, much like when it fell asleep, it just kind of falls limp in the sky and dives down into the grass somewhere.
All right. And so far, I'm doing all right. but watching my two guys up front, they've done a really good job of making themselves targets. In fact, doing such a good job that they're getting hit. I'm gonna drop my crossbow, draw my sword, and run up and be around them, ready to help out in melee.
And we move to Jules.
All right. So how many can Jules see that are still alive at this point?
At
There's
this
just
point,
one,
there is just one, and you can actually see it because of some of the the fighting that's going on. You've been able to see where those birds were going to and from on the side, so you've been able to triangulate their position. So yeah, you have finally spotted the original that was standing there, wide-winged.
So I can see it.
You can now. Yeah, now that it's kind of been located for you.
Beautiful. So for everyone else, they see a little image of Jules appear before their eyes and sort of walk towards this creature, and he has a one second. He has just seeing what a longhorn, which is kind of like a Pied Piper's horn. It's probably about 2 feet long, and he's holding it in both hands, and he's walking towards the creature. And what I'm doing is I'm going to cast Vicious Mockery on it from here. But they all see a little image of me walking towards him and piping on my horn. And so it needs to make a wisdom saving throw, please.
All right. Let's see. It got wisdom. It got an 11.
Okay, it fails. So it will take 4 psychic damage, and if it is still alive, it has disadvantage on the next attack roll that it makes.
So it is not alive. How's this Pied Piper affect? Or not
Yeah,
Pied Piper,
okay.
but Longhorn Piper.
So who is the closest melee combatant to it of my friends?
I believe that would probably be Argaz.
So the vulture, predator to so many creatures out here, will uncharacteristically just fly into the air like only 5 feet and sort of hop over towards Argaz, and it will lift its long and very wide wingspan, but it will fold them like a chicken's and will sort of make this weird clucking sound and make a spiral around Argaz, and Argaz lifts his weapon and just in a single blow is able to attack this crazy chicken sound vulture as it's clearly incapable of dodging his attack.
Awesome. Sweet. Cool. So that is this little clearing is now vulture free. Well, living vulture free. No undeads. You still aren't picking any undead vultures up. Then Argaz, it's your turn.
Huh. Well, There's nothing else here, right? Or that we can
Uh,
perceive, I should say.
Sure. Yep.
Um, considering he just thinks these are just wild animals, he's just going to honestly think that they just killed a pig. But then it dawns on him. It's like, well, who killed the pig? Because he heard the word vulture, and vultures, rings in his mind of a carrion bird. He kind of slowly makes his way towards the pig, with his sword drawn, kind of inspecting the pig over, to see if he can see what caused its death.
Sure. Give me an investigation specifically.
All right, that's a whopping 10. I rolled an 11.
So it's actually fairly easy to see once you get up on it. There are two very large tears that seem to be the initial source gutting. So you would assume that would be fatal, as it would spill whatever might be inside of this boar.
Does it look natural? Because obviously, if somebody was hunting it, they would have took the boar with them. But then again, with the things attacking, he thinks maybe it was probably one of the winged stone creatures that he had seen. He relays that what he sees, to the rest of the party, and he has to tell them where do you want to go from here.
In short, yes. It looks like, it could be a number of things. Maybe a couple of, daggers could have been that killing blow, or something similar to that.
Okay, so yeah, as I said, he kind of relays what he's seeing, and then kind of looks at them and won't know what they want to do about it.
Well, my curiosity has been sated. Time to go back to the road.
And if you guys like, we can fall out of initiative here. Okay. Sounds like we got 2 votes for that. Okay, cool. All right. So you guys are making your way back over towards Jules.
One second before I leave the pig, it's old habits. I move the pig, just push him over, move it, to make sure I can see what's under it and all that good stuff. And just something tells me to look under the pig. Just saying.
Okay. Yeah, as you flip the pig over, probably the most profound thing, if it is at all, is just that the other side of the pig does not seem to have been cut or picked at in the same way that the side that you had been looking at.
Can I look around real quick for maybe some sort of tracks for whatever killed this pig first?
Sure.
Or rather, let me check the
Certainly.
wounds. Let me check the wounds on the pig, and to see if this thing was actually killed by a beak, by a desperate vulture, or maybe claws or teeth or something different.
Okay.
What would you like me to roll for that? Like medicine, survival, perception?
You can take your pick between medicine, survival, and investigation.
I'll do survival since I got that right now.
Or nature. I mean, you could do nature too, since you said it trying to decipher if it was a beak or a claw or something.
Sweet. 20 total. It's a 20 whether it's a medicine, a nature, or a survival.
Okay. So the tearing is a little bit more flimsy than what you would expect a steeled or iron weapon might cause. So this looks like something a little bit more natural. More specifically, this was teeth.
Oh. I'm happy knowing that much. I'll get up and I'll walk away.
just watching I just looked this thing over, was like, yes, okay, yes, and then all of a sudden he goes, okay, stands up and walks.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. He's completely content knowing.
All right, well, Argos, considering he's looked under the pig, and the nagging in his head to look under the pig has been sated. He goes back to with the rest of the party.
They find Jules climbing down from his vantage point and reaching into his pack and grabbing out soap and wiping his hand as if he himself has touched the pig, but he hasn't. And he's just like clearly disturbed by the fact that of people reaching out and moving this dead carcass. But other than that, he seems fine.
Kind of as a joke, Argyle goes, "That's a good. You did well. I am very Idori of you, proud." And he holds his hand out, the hand he touched the pig with.
Jules takes a step back.
He kind of tilts his head to the side. He goes, "Something wrong?" It's like, and he kind of like, "You leave me hanging, bro." And he kind of like steps forward. Like, of course, we're perhaps on something. It's what he thinks when he steps forward.
Yeah. So seeing that you're so insistent, Jules will stick out his pinky finger like this for you to shake it.
And Argos, once you get with your hands, he just clashed your fist with his hand and shakes it.
Immediately, once you've shaked it, I'll pull back rather violently and grab the soap and turn around and walk away, muttering while I wash my hand.
He kind of raises a brow and he goes, and he continues on down the road.
Yeah, so before all of this occurred, you guys had probably been walking for about 30 minutes. So at this point, you get a much better view of the stockade. And something, this being the closest that probably most of you have ever been, you guys are actually seeing and hearing this. It's a siren type thing. And you're now starting to see, not a mass of people, but there's probably 20 people that are heading your direction. For the most part, regular Jack and Jills, all of them wearing some variation of a red, black, and blue outfit. And they're all carrying tools of some kind. Eventually, they get close enough, and the first one is kind of passing you and starts. It looks like they're heading into town itself.
All right.
Argos, kind of watches them go, and seeing they're running towards town, he thinks two things. One, that's reinforcements for the city. Two, the barracks have turned on the city, and the city's in more trouble. But either way, considering They was told to go to the barracks. He thinks the good thing first.
So they're like passing by us, like they move past us, near us.
This road is, or I say road, this path is probably a good 20 feet wide in total.
Mhm.
So as they're coming, they kind of shuffle to the left side, or what is Australia the other way around? The right side.
It's fine.
But
the other side. Yes.
they're but they kind of see you, and so all of them shift to one side, and they're all still carrying their tools and headed in. Most of them aren't really looking at you guys for the most part. Every once in a while you'll get somebody that kind of sees you and gives you a nod. As the tail end of the group is now passing you, there is a young man, kind of scraggly looking, just a year ago could have been a boy, but now he's definitely a man. And he kind of sees you guys and he stops, and he says, "Good luck on the test," and then picks his stuff back up and begins to head back towards West Rock.
Hearing all of this, I make a mental note of the red, black, and blue, how they seem to be working together. I'm like, this is Uniform E. Am I going to have to change my clothes? And I look down at my rags. Sigh heavily.
Well, seeing that the gentleman mentions the test, it only cements the thing that Argos thinks the first thing he thought was the truth.
Don't worry, I'm sure they'll let you keep your clothes.
Oh, I'm praying that they make you change them.
Well, very good. So you guys continue on a little ways. One last time, give me a perception check.
Whose sound is that? There's something bleeding through.
Sorry. Let me mute myself. Maybe that's the problem.
All right. Very good. You guys, I'll say, Gardain, you are actually, as you start to get a little bit closer, you're starting to reach for that burlap coin sack, to get your coin out of there, and you feel something inside of it. Everybody else, you guys hear again what Roland, what you heard earlier. It's the grass is moving. It sounds like a breeze is blowing through it, but again, there is no breeze.
Did you all feel that back at that vulture fight? Did you notice that? Like, here, watch. The grass is going to move, and there's no wind.
Oh my God! Do we see this too? Because this would be a perfect moment. I mean, I think he's crazy.
I've been asking you, do you hear the voices? Do you see the grass move?
So anybody who is looking at the grass would, in fact, see grass move maybe about 10 feet deep into the tall grass. The top of it shifts.
Like there's something in the grass?
You could come to that conclusion.
Has Jules ever felt this or seen this sort of thing before? I mean, he's been around town, maybe not far from town, but
I would say that this would be something that would probably be unfamiliar to you.
all right. So Jules says, "Well, yeah, I mean, I see it. I don't know what to think. So grass is moving. There's no breeze to move it. So seems to me something unnatural. We're getting closer to the hero place. Maybe we can ask them what's going on. Maybe it's them. Maybe they know about something. But I'm afraid I can't help you on that."
I'm going to, knowing that something big in the grass that makes the grass move and is below the grass is typically some sort of snake. My curiosity gets the better of me. I draw my short sword and I'm going to start moving toward where the grass is moving.
Argyle is pleased to see that the unlikely hero is starting to become more brave, and either more brave or more curious. He's one of the two.
Curiosity and bravery are completely being confused right now.
Yeah. In Argos's mind, he thinks curiosity killed the cat, but then again, the cat never had somebody following him neither. So he's going to follow. He's going to follow Roland just to make sure he doesn't get into trouble.
Since I didn't see, I didn't see the grass when we were back there, but I see it. I'll follow a few paces behind them just to see what's going on.
Sorrow, seeing you guys leaving the trail again, just kind of comes to an abrupt stop and is just standing there erect, just looking straight ahead.
Yeah, I'll do the same thing. I'll just keep a watch around.
Thanks, guys.
Very good. So as you kind of put your hands into the grass to shove it aside and step out into it a little bit, you briefly see the tail of something move, just out of your range of vision.
Am I able to identify this, whatever it is, by its tail? Like, does it look like a rat tail, a wolf tail? Maybe I don't know. Go ahead.
So I would say that so around here, some of the, like I said, some of the smaller, this looks somewhat like maybe like a mountain lion or a puma tail, but it's a lot bigger.
I immediately tell the two that have come with me that this is it looks like a mountain lion, and it looks like it's much bigger, and it's been following us. I think it might be best that we take care of it, and take care of it soon before something happens to it, or we hurry up and get to wherever we're going. And I'm backing away, switching out my sword for my crossbow.
As soon as the unlikely hero starts like, yeah, we need to kind of back our asses off a little bit. He pulls the sword from it.
And all of a sudden, it all dings on me, and I interrupt you, just like I am now, and I go, whatever this thing is, this is what killed the pig. This is what killed the pig. I saw bite marks and teeth marks. and this is what killed the pig. And I'm backing up faster to the road.
Argus sees it. This is what I can see, just like running to the road. Not even explain it to anybody. This is what killed the pig. This is what killed the pig. Get to the road. Argus has a dumbfounded look to his face, like, what the? It like he like he did before with the buzzards. The buzzards. He he kind of slowly, still facing the direction of where the grass had been moving. He slowly is backing his way back towards the party with sword in hand, getting ready to strike at anything that freaking. He has not been attacked by another ninja buzzard, damn it.
Gardane, what are you doing?
Oh, as soon as Roland ran back, it was talking about a big cat. Gardane turns around, is moving quickly back with him, and looks over his head to see Argos just moving. He was like, "What are you waiting for? Move your ass!"
I forget you're a dwarf, so this is actually probably pretty tall grass for you too, huh?
All you see is grass parting as I'm using my shield and I'm bulldozing grass out my way.
I am somewhat disturbed by this image.
So you guys make it safely to the path. Gardane, again, you have, as you kind of clear out, once more kind of to your side, reaching maybe for your weapon, as obviously to be on the offensive in case something happens. Your hand slips past your blade and again hits that little sack, and again you feel it. There's something else in it. Would you like to open the sack and see what it is?
No.
He opens it up and a raccoon jumps out of it.
There's a fifth vulture.
That's right.
It's a sack of vulture holding.
It's the new Batman vulture. It's Affleck. It's Batfleck. In power suit and everything. Clyde?
Are you there, Gardane?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
He's been talking for the past 6 minutes.
Yes. When he was that, I was like, "Wiggity wait, get in my sack. I'm retiring. I now have a Pokeball. I'm becoming." I thank y'all for y'all's contribution. But I'm going to look inside of it now.
Cool. Yeah. As you split it open at the bottom, you actually see this tiny little mesh bag, even smaller inside of it, and there are 5 little blue pills. You might be muted.
Yep, I keep muting myself. So I take the mesh sack out and tie the burlap one back and open it with the 5 pills and then look at everybody. I know this is going to sound weird, but there's 5 pills. Who wants to take one?
Who wants to party?
Ooh, me. Let me see that.
Of course, Roland would. Of course,
I hand him one. I will hand Jules one.
I'm gonna like examine this thing thoroughly, and I'm gonna smell it, and I'm gonna be like, "What is this?"
You know you want it.
Oh, he doesn't want to taste it at all.
I'll hand one to Argos. This might help you.
Argos looks at the pill. He got like examining the pill and looking. It's taking it rolling. It's just.
I'm just shoving it in my mouth. I'm like, I don't know.
So you
I will
took it.
not be out.
Yes.
I will not be outdone by the crazy man. I take it. Screw it.
So as you take that pill, again, for what it's worth, this is the same sack that Bravo gave you. So that's reason to be wary, though a naturally suspicious person would still be suspicious. But as you take that pill, Argaz and Roland, you feel completely revitalized. You feel great. You feel like you just took a long rest.
Argos is just like, I feel so freaking amazing.
And for what it's worth, you guys can actually roll a hit die and regain any hit points.
Well,
from
seeing
that.
as seeing that it didn't kill them, I will put. I didn't do anything too bad to them. I will take mine and I will hand Sorrow, since there was 5 of them. I held the other one out for the robot.
That Sorrow extends his hand out and he looks at it and he puts it up to his face, but he just kind of smashes it into the metal grill and it turns to powder and just falls.
Jules will take a good look at that powder. I am completely not trusting of this. I will not put anything in my mouth that I do not know what it is.
Well, I will. I will go along with you that even though Bravo dropped it, this could be his stash. He could come back later. Hey, do you spice?
Go ahead.
It's like you feel revitalized or energized. I feel so freaking amazing.
I explained to them what the feeling is like and how it feels and how it compares to having just slept through the night. This is interesting. I wonder how I can get more.
So does Jules learn anything from?
If you want to make an Arcana check, Arcana or Medicine, either one.
All right, yeah. So Jules will reach out his mind and make an Arcana check. Yeah, sure. 17 in total.
So you have heard of something that is very much like this, but being in pill form is a little odd to you. There is a thing called the Spring that is rumored to exist inside the stockade, though you've never seen it yourself. As rumors go, the knowledge of this is this life-giving column of light is what you've always heard that it could be, or perhaps it is a literal spring of life-giving water. But it is said that somebody on their deathbed, as long as it is not from natural causes, could take a drink from a cup or inhale or stand in this light and be fully rejuvenated.
That really makes it sound like whatever I just took is totally a drug. Dude.
All right. So what Jules will do is probably frustrate the DM. And he will wrap the pill in paper and he will place it in a special pocket in his pack that he believes is safe and secure. for a time and a place that requires such a powerful, potent thing.
Sure. I don't have a problem with that. I was going to say that it was a suppository, but it's cool since everybody just shoved it in their mouth. Just write that on the party stuff so that I remember that you've got that. Cool.
No worries.
Or that you remember. But great. And while you guys seem affixed on whatever this pill was, and as you're carefully wrapping it, enormous creature roars and jumps out of the grass. Let's see. So we will go. Roland, you are 1. Jules, you are 2. Argaz 3. Gardane 4.
Yuck.
Gardane.
Who?
So leaping out is this large cat with these 2 jagged fangs coming from the top of its mouth, hanging down below its jaw, and it's reaching out with its paws as it leaps through the air, and it bites you for 9 damage.
Ow.
And it lands on top of you. And it sits there and it goes to pull back and swipe at you with its claw. And it mashes down into the dirt next to your head. But you are effectively prone. Roll initiative.
Oh, I'm doing so good on initiative. I wish I could do this good on everything else during this game.
All right. So you guys are in the exact order you were before. Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, kept my cards in line. All right. So before you, again, stands this large creature. Roland, you're familiar with a lot of predators in the area. You've never seen this before.
Okay.
It's your turn.
All right. I'm gonna, having these side points back immediately. I'm gonna drop 2 of them on my crossbow, and I'm going to use speed dart, dropping for every one that I drop until the. Let's see, that's my bonus action. Until, let's see, you imbue 1 ranged weapon, you hold a psionic power. The next attack you make with it that hits before the end of the current turn deals an extra D10 psychic damage per side point spent. And I just spent 2.
Okay.
$17.
A 17 hits.
5, 6, 7, 13, 15 points of piercing. It's going to be 6 and 2 is 8 piercing plus 7 psychic. And I'm going to get away from this thing even further.
Very good.
That's my whole turn.
Right. Oh, what did I just do with my cards? There they are. All right. So that brings us to Jules.
All right. Seeing this creature leap out and still feeling under the weather a little bit, having not taken the gift pill. Jules will begin to mutter beneath his breath, and I'm going to attempt to cast Vicious Mockery on this creature, whatever it be. So it will need to make a Wisdom saving throw, please.
It fails.
Okay. All right. So Jules is backing away. I'm assuming that it's not in melee to me at this point.
No,
Or is it? No. So I'm backing away.
it's not.
And as I'm moving, I reach out my hand towards it. And as I reach out my hand, I'm backing away. And I'm muttering beneath my breath. And as I do this, everyone sees a little picture of me. And the pictures of me sort of tap on, they're little tiny pictures of me. They're like little ants. And they're like, they're tapping on the creature's toes, or claws on the ground. They're like, and it will take 3 psychic damage, and it has disadvantage on the next attack. And we will describe that if whether it succeeds or fails on its next attack. So 3 psychic damage and disadvantage on its next attack.
All right. And then that brings us to Argaz.
Okay, that is a 17 to attack, and if 17 hits, 15 points of damage.
All right, that does hit. Is there anything else you would like to do?
Try to get its attention. Try so it won't bother our dwarf friend. Though I'm sure me hitting it, like right up on it, smacking it across the back with a sword, that'll get its attention.
Sure. All right. Oh, yeah, it hits the tiger from behind. And as it does this, it wrenches its head back around, and it's actually going to try and bite you. And you impose disadvantage, correct?
That
I
is
believe
correct,
that's
yes.
accurate. All right. Well, it missed, so yes.
Yeah, so basically you see these little images of Jules, and it's a claw attack that it's doing?
It's trying to bite.
All right. You see these little images of Jules climbing up the creature's legs and then jumping onto the creature's maw. And as it reaches out to bite you, you see it coming right at you, and you think in your head, "Oh crap, it's going to hit." And then the little images of Jules sort of wrench down and pull the creature's maw to the side, and it's more just whiffs, just very close to you. You can feel the saliva of its mouth all over you, but the little images have managed to pull the maw to the side so that it wouldn't hit you.
Nice. And so its head kind of gets wrenched to the side like this, and as it does, it's actually following up with a big claw attack right behind it, and it hits you for 9 damage. It slashes across and catches you.
That beaster.
And it repositions itself, now facing Argaz. Which brings us around to Gardain. You are prone.
Yep. I'm going to get up. Oh, let me see here. I'm hurt. I'm so hurt. Wait, I went past my spells. And I'm going to, let's see, cast. Well, I have to be able to. Okay. How far away is Argos from me?
You guys are essentially at noon, or excuse me, at 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock on this thing.
Okay. How bad does Argos look hurt?
9 points of damage wise. I'm bloodied.
Okay, there we go. So I'm going to move and try to touch and heal him. Which is, let's see, 1d8. Okay, so d8 plus casting. So I heal him 9 points of damage. And that's about all I could. That's it for me. It took action for me to do that.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to do? Like move away from this thing?
Oh yeah. I'm gonna get away from it because I'm hurt too. Yeah. I'm moving
so
as far as
he would get an attack of opportunity on you.
Well, here we go.
All right. So I have a 20 total. Is there anything that can be done to keep you from getting hit?
Yes, I can. If I have I can cast shield on myself. So
great.
I will burn my shield.
Very good. All right. Well, then he goes to swipe at you with a claw, but as he does, your shield itself kind of comes up and just bounces off almost unnaturally, more than just taking the scuff off of a shield. Very good. So how far away from this thing are you getting?
I can move 25 feet, so I'll go 25 feet.
Just as far and as fast as you can. Great. Very good. Okay, so that brings us to Roland.
All right, so I moved 30 feet away from this thing. How far was I from it when I started moving?
10 feet. 10 feet.
Great. So
yeah.
I'm 40 feet away from it. Looking around to what's going on, I start running right toward it. Drop that crossbow. I'm pulling out my sword, and I'm shouting, like I'm seeing my friends get beat up, and this is terrible, and I've got to draw some hit, and I'm like, ah! And I'm going to spend 2 points, my last 2 points, and that's gonna allow me to use there and back again. As a bonus action, you teleport up to 20 feet to an unoccupied space you can see, and then move up to half your speed. At the end of your turn, you can teleport back to the spot you occupied before teleporting, unless it is now occupied or on a different plane of existence. So I'm going to run up to it, or I'm going to run up with the movement that I've got. I'm going to move up 15 feet. No, I'm going to come running up to it straight. And when I'm about 15 feet away from it, then I'm going to teleport to the far side of it, 20 feet away from it. 15 feet away from it. Move half my speed now. So literally, I'm charging from one direction. It's going to see me. And then all of a sudden, I'm on the other side of it, running at it from the other direction. I'm going to swing with my short sword and then teleport the hell away from there.
All right.
The Mighty Deuce.
Does not hit.
That's right. And so I will then teleport back to 15 feet on the other side of it.
All right. That pulls us back to Jules.
All right.
Jules,
So,
there's a crossbow on the ground.
okay. Just the crossbow?
It's not loaded. You're right.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to run up to me and pull a pistol out of my pocket, you can.
I look at that crossbow and I'm like, yeah. Yeah, so I'm away from it, and I know the direction of the stockade, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is 30 feet away from us from the direction of the stockade, I'm going to cast Minor Illusion. And what that minor illusion is going to be is a sound. And what the sound is the sound of a hunting party, full with baying dogs, the sound of yelling men, loading guns. And that sound is going to come from that direction. And that is going to be my turn.
Cool. Will you make an intimidation check for me, please?
Sure. Intimidation. So I got a 13.
Cool. Yeah, I got a 1 on the dice on this side. Very good.
Awesome.
So we'll resolve that in a moment. Argaz, you are looking into the face of this tiger, but it seems its attention was drawn for just a moment, and you see it kind of get down, almost like it's about to make some sort of lightning quick move of some sort.
Let's see, 14 plus 5, 19. That it? Okay. I assume it does. 12
Yes,
points of
that
damage.
hits.
12 points of damage to it.
All right. Is there anything else you would like to do?
Nope.
Okay. So the tiger's turn. He actually hears this, and that last hit has definitely kind of put it in a bad way. You guys have been doing a little bit of work on it. And it actually, from that locked and loaded position, sort of springs and starts to dash back into the grass. You can take an attack if you'd like.
That's a natural 18 on the die, so I'm not even
That's a
lying
hit.
about bonuses. But it's only 10 points of damage.
So as this thing turns to kind of leap out, what does the hit look like?
Well, somebody didn't teach the cat to never take your eyes off your prey. So when it goes to run, Argos kind of, when it goes to turn, just as it's about to turn, Argos slams the greatsword in its side and tears its side open and disembowels it, but feels sorry because knowing that his player's wife would be pissed at him because he just killed a cat.
Yeah, it's a clean shot too. This thing has definitely completely disregarded you hearing this sound of the hunting party. Plus, you guys already have done a little bit of work on it, and you stick the sword into the side as it starts to run, and almost its own momentum is what brings the blade across its body, but it doesn't actually. The resistance keeps it from leaping into the grass, and it just collapses down, and it sits there for a second. And it lets out, a meek little roar, and then its eyes close, and it has fallen.
Nobody's unconscious, right?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay.
Oh, but I had to get away from that tiger.
I will walk over and pick up my crossbow and put it back on my hip, sheath my sword, pull my tunic back over both of them.
And you see Jules reaching out towards the sound of the hunting party, and he takes a big deep breath in, and the sound dissipates as he pulls his hand back.
Can you do that again for me?
Jules looks over to you and says, why's that?
I don't know what you did, and I want to know. Can you do that again for me?
I can. Would you like to hear the same thing, or?
It can change sounds?
he says, well, sure.
And as you do it, I literally sit down, cross my legs, and I'm watching your hands and listening to your words. And I'm going,
I breathe.
What?
Yeah, I breathe out again, and I gesture to a bush near you, and you hear the sound of a crackling bonfire, full with spitting sparks, and it almost feels warm, but there's no actual warmth. But you get that memory of the warmth of a really, really tall, 10-foot, 15-foot tall crackling bonfire. It's just a sound.
I look over, ripping off the tunic over my head, and I'm about to try to put out this fire. And as you see me, the studded leather that I have on is perfectly fitted to my form.
Oh boy.
A very odd juxtaposition to the mess that I always wear outside. And I'm looking for this fire and looking up at you. You made that sound?
Why, that's what you asked. And that is a mighty fine piece of leather you have there. How did you get that form fitting like that?
I'd rather not talk about that.
Well, that's unfortunate. I've been looking for something like that for a mighty fine long time.
Looking at you and looking at me. Don't know if it's going to fit you. I
don't want yours. I'm just saying it.
So during all this ruckus, Argos walks over to where the cat had landed, and he's looking the cat over. Is it still alive?
No.
So he kind of pats it on the head, knowing it was just an animal of the wild. And he says, "To the earth with you." And he kind of stands back up and walks back, just check it, just to make sure it's not, because he doesn't want to leave, an unconscious animal on the field, on thing, because being eaten alive is something he doesn't fancy. So, yeah.
Very cool. So, yeah, you get it moved off of the path. Are you guys continuing on?
Yep.
No. I start looking through my companions real quick for a knife. I'm looking to see if any of them are armed with some sort of knife or dagger.
I can hand him a dagger.
Sweet. I'll walk over to you, reaching for your hip, and you pull that out and hand it to me before. Thanks. I go over to it, run it right into the tiger, cut it open, and I'm looking for proof of buzzards, or excuse me, of a pig on the inside.
Nice.
There is definitely stomach contents.
I poke around at some of it, pull out something that looks at least recent.
So
Flick it
do you
off in the
have-
grass, wipe it off, and I'll take it back to him.
you feel confident, if you have ever eaten raw pig before, that this is also that?
Jules will turn around and throw up a little, and he will not take that dagger back.
Not understanding why at all, I toss the dagger over my shoulder and begin walking. And then, oh, I pull out the spatial rod and I begin to study this and look at this as we move along.
Cool. And if everybody is down with heading to the stockade, you guys will get there. Is that the plan?
Oh, of course.
All right. As you approach the stockade, now that you're right up in front of it, it is a large. You guys know that it used to be a fort that was meant to defend West Rock, so it's got tall bastions and kind of in the corners of this. It's almost castle-esque. Certain means of the defense you can see had been torn down, but it seems to still hold that vague shape. There is a large gate, and standing outside of the gate, there are 2 guards dressed in red, black, and blue.
I'll walk forward and take off that burlap sack and open up and show my coin to them.
And as you do, the guard on the left holds out a little box, and it's got a little coin slit on the top of it.
I'll drop my coin in.
He moves it to his left hand and holds it out, and kind of looks at the rest of you.
Oh, I hand him the coin and, I guess follow suit.
Realizing, oh, the special coin. I'll pull out that coin and drop it into the slot.
I'll polish the coin with the hem of my clothes and then drop it into the slot.
And Sorrow does the same thing. And as he does, he sets the box on the ground and he says, "Good luck. If you pass the test, you can meet Uther." And they open this upward sliding door, and both of the guards walk into it. The box falls open so that all of its sides are kind of laid out flat, and it slowly starts to expand around you. And once you guys are kind of standing in the middle of the bottom of this box, the coins are gone. The box closes around you, and you find yourself inside of a 30 by 30 room where all of the walls, the ceiling, and the floor, everything is white. On the north, south, east, and west walls, there are doors.
I'm distracted by the room. I'd like to make like I'm searching through the noosphere to try to figure out what just happened. Knowledge check, whichever one you'd like me to make.
So this would be our Arcana or History. You can do either two.
Okay. Both of those are +5.
What are the rest of you doing while he's trying to figure the room out?
6.
Kind of dumbfounded, wondering what just happened.
Again, anytime I'm rolling a knowledge roll, I am failing them miserably for 2 games now.
Would it be possible to? Did we get our hit dice back? Because at this point in time, I think it's about prudent for me to point out that I need to spend this now.
When you took that pill, you would have been able to spin the hit dice, and you would have refilled that hit dice as well. So if you took a rest, then by all means you can. And for what it's worth, we'll take a meta break here because I wanted to talk a little bit about this. I know rules is written describes a short rest as an hour and a long rest as 8 hours. I've always had a different interpretation of it. I see short rests in different stages. If you're looking to recover hit points, I'm down with a short rest being like a 15-minute rest. If you're looking to recover spell slots or, this action refills after a short rest, that's an hour. So if all you're doing is looking to try and get some hit points back, I'm cool with you guys taking a 15-minute rest. Which, I would say since you guys are walking, you wouldn't have been able to do that yet.
It's okay, brother. Considering I'm at full hit points, how wounded do you look?
I have from 11. I got hit by 9. I'm on 2. I am bad.
Our guys, seeing that you're just like, oh Lord, I am just not here. I'll use all 5 points of my lay on hands on you.
And Gardane, again, that nagging feeling at the back of your head. There is something about especially as a cleric, you understand this probably better than anybody else. Every, god out there that presents divine power to anybody, you're a cleric, he's a paladin, he must follow some sort of light. This feeling that rushes over you has a similar aura to something you felt before. But now you are all, once again, as I said, in a room with doors on all 4 walls.
I'll look around, just with all that, I'll begin to, run my hands through my beard, trying to figure out where all this, where I've had these feelings, where I've seen this or had this stuff done before. And I'm just looking at the doors.
Does any of the doors stand out?
They all look like wooden doors with doorknobs.
And other dimensions, like you said that it was in effect a 30-foot box. Are those dimensions very clear to us, like to our characters? Like we can see the corners of the roof and everything.
Yeah. Everybody can make a perception check, but you definitely feel like you are inside of a cube.
Yeah.
21. As long as I'm not having to really think. Yeah.
Yeah, and I will scan my memories to see whether I remember reading any books that might have had this sort of thing mentioned in it or anything like that. So let's see what
Sure.
I can remember. So, history. Well, that is a not natural 20.
Cool. You know this. You're trained in history.
Yes, I
correct?
am.
Cool. So you know this. This space. You have never seen or been in one before, but you have definitely read in the books, just thumbing through at library. But you know that this is what's called a clover. Clover. Essentially, what it is it is a puzzle box in which take through one of the doors. And as for the, so we let's see, Jim, you said you had a 21.
Yep.
Cool. So Gardane and Roland both notice two separate things. Roland, because you're kind of looking down at the spatial rod a little bit, at the same time, you see a latch on the floor. Gardane, you see a latch on the ceiling.
I will lean over this latch, put my hand in the air holding the rod, press the button on the end, and open the door and kind of hang and look.
You look down into a room and you see the heroes. You see all five of you standing in a room, and you see yourself looking down into a hole.
Hey!
All of you hear a hey from above you.
I'll look up above me.
Is the latch still open?
Yeah?
Up above you, it looks like you're looking up into a white room.
I'll leave this latch open and I'll walk over to one of the other doors.
Okay.
And I'll open.
Once you open the door, you see the heroes, but everybody else notices that the door on the other side of the room opens.
I'll go open one of the last remaining closed doors.
Same thing.
So now all 6 doors are open.
Correct.
I will step through one door.
You come out. Which door?
I step through north.
And you come out south.
Crazy idea. When Roland does that, and he comes out the other one, and I see him go through the north and come out the south, I tell him, like point to the door that he was in, and then I go through the door and like I hold him up my hand and like 3, 2, that type of thing, and kind of like motion for it to let's step through it at the same time, see what happens.
Before we step through it, I'm literally looking into the room and he's right there, right?
Correct. Yeah, you're both looking. You can see each other.
Oh my God, I have an idea. Jim, reach through, grab my guy's hand. I'll reach through, grab your guy's hand. And we'll pull at the same time.
We spin in circles.
Yeah. From the, let's say you're still at the north and south. Each of you see, or the other 2 members see the other's hand pull or reach through as it goes through this door.
Crazy.
Tripped out by this, I look into the main part of the room, not through the doorway. And since the doorway on the other side, so my back is to the south door, looking into the room. The north door is across, and it's still open. And I can see my own back in that room.
Yes.
Crazy.
Backwards.
You come out the other door.
Crazy idea. Why not everybody go into a different door? Because there's 4 doors. 4 of us. I'm just saying, there's 4 doors, 5 of us. Why not, like, everybody take a door and go through it?
Well, Jules is watching on as you guys are like opening doors and walking through doors. And he sort of says, guys, this is what's called clover. Last time I read about these, it was about this box of a room, but the walls weren't as starch white as these. In fact, they were a nice sky blue, and they were studded with these gilded leaves that made their way around about 3/4 high, all sides of the room, and it was very beautiful. But see, these rooms are puzzle boxes.
While you say
And
that, I step into through the door and shut the door behind me, forgetting that it just puts me back into the room. I'm like, I still hear him. What?
and you see, we need to try and figure this out. So what I want to do is, seeing how they're like going in and out and nothing's happening, I'm going to try and figure it out. So may I make an investigation check or something?
Yeah, go ahead and let's see. You can definitely make an investigation check and go ahead and do that. Roland, once you slam the door behind you, all the doors shut.
Okay.
But Roland's in Oblivion.
Even the 2 latches, the one on the floor and on the ceiling, shut once Roland has closed the door. But everybody's still in the same room.
Okay, when he tells you the check, I got an idea. I'd like to try.
I got 17 on the investigation check.
So, specifically, just based on, I would say that your investigation kind of has a ceiling to it, and that ceiling is the amount of investigation that you guys have done, testing doors and so on and so forth. And you feel very strongly you can't go out one of the doors on the wall. You can't get out by walking through one of those. You've come to that conclusion. I know that probably sounds obvious, but in your head, you feel like I can't walk out this door, out the door behind me.
I'm going to walk into one of the walls.
The wall.
Yep.
I like it though.
Oh, did I meet solid wall?
You did, yeah. You bumped right into it.
Oh, okay.
Wait. I got an idea. I tell the dwarf, when I go through this door, because I'm going to open it, obviously it's going to open one of the doors in the south, right? I'm going to open a north door, but when I open it, I'm going to see what door opens. I tell the dwarf to go stand there, and as soon as I walk, and just before I walk in, slam the door, or not slam the door, but shut the door. Just as I step through, just as, I'm disappearing into it.
Well, I'm for this. What door does he open?
So as he opens the north door, the south door opens.
Okay. I look at him.
I give it. I kind of feel like he's willing to. He's too anxious to do this.
Yeah, I agree.
I go, all right, screw it. I walk through the door slowly, so that way he can, he don't have time to shut it.
Yep. As soon as he steps through, I slam the door.
Sorrow, kind of still standing towards the middle of the room. His head spins a full 360, just kind of taking in the entire room. And almost a quick mechanical movement, just holds his hand straight up in the air, and inside of his hand, he creates just a little fire, and he's just sitting here, seems to be manipulating it with his hand. Just so you know what he's doing.
So did he run into the door, or is he called in oblivion?
You would have slammed the door in his face if he stepped through.
Oh,
That's hilarious.
So, with those, I'm going to go stand in the middle of the room and open up the latch.
Don't do it, Jim. I know what you're thinking. Don't do it. Don't
The
step through it. You'll be at an
latch
eternal
above.
fall. I've seen cartoons based on this.
Nope. Okay. I have a hope. I sit down with my feet dangling.
Your feet dangle through.
I look. And I fall in and make myself straight.
And you are thinking with portals, my friend. You are just keep whipping by.
I'm sitting there
Terminal
like,
velocity eventually.
I'm like, do we close it? He's in eternity.
We
Okay.
shouldn't. Stuart says, "Well, we shouldn't close it without someone getting ready to catch him. Otherwise, he's gonna have a nice
So what
solid,
you're getting
quick end."
is, well, I
Zoom, zoom,
think this isn't working. Don't shut
So who's going to catch him?
a different door.
You know what? I have an idea. Because
so wait a minute. If we was to tip him sideways, would he No, he would. Yeah, never mind.
Bone his body.
Yeah, I know.
Wait, I have an idea. So, was the top, the latch above us, was it opened?
Yes. When
Okay.
he opened the one on the floor, it opened.
So, what I plan is this: is as soon as he's falling through, and we see him for that brief millisecond that we see him fall through, I propose we shut the top latch. Because if we stop,
Okay.
because there is a magical essence that probably, I am hoping, will not break Roland's leg. Just saying. If they do, I'll heal you. You can become our Professor X.
So the toughest aspect of this is going to be getting up there, because again, it is a 30 by 30 cube, so it's 30 feet up. It would be easier to close the latch on the bottom.
So when he passes by, I'm just going to grab a hold of his of an arm or a leg or whatever I can get a hold of as he passes by.
Clyde, hold on.
Now there's two of you. No, I'm kidding.
Hold on.
kidding.
The only thing I'm going to say is velocity is taking effect. You're going to rip Poirot. Okay, so what I suggest to the dwarf, okay, I suggest he takes his shield, and just as Roland is passing by, to kind of like use his shield or tackle him, and kind of tackle him out of midair. Because that way, I mean, yeah, it's going to hurt, but still,
Okay. I think I'm fixing to figure this out right here. What I'm going to do is take my shield, and I'm going to use it like a baseball bat.
Oh, good.
Okay, no, I'm saying get some rope. Let me catch it.
You know, honestly, as fast as he's going, I'm surprised he ain't blacked out yet.
This is the most boring thing I've ever done. I'm literally passing you guys over and over again. This is no longer scary. It's like Bill and Ted's. I've just been falling for so long.
It's like
This is Groundhog Day if Groundhog Day was falling.
Yes.
So what I'll do, since he's adamant about the rope and he doesn't want to try to experiment with the shield and him being a baseball,
He doesn't really have a say in it. He's just falling. You could tackle
Right.
him.
Technically. I'm so glad that falling damage caps at 20d6.
So what I'll do is first we'll try the rope tactic. If that doesn't work, I'm hitting him with a shield. So I'm going to throw the rope at him first.
Well, why don't you just dangle just feed the rope through the bottom? It'll come out through the top. Like, just feed it enough that there's literally just a solid line of rope that he could just grab onto it, and he could. Even though that's going to burn the hell out of your hands unless you've got a leather pair of gloves on.
He wanted the rope, so I dangle it out there. Okay, and let him rely on him to catch it.
I don't think there's any creature that's immune to rope burn, but we can try it.
If I had not spent all of my side points, I could teleport out of this situation.
So I will.
You could have.
So I will dangle the rope so that he can take a hold of it.
So wait. Quick question. I think I know a way we could get. I was going to call him Bill. We can get Jim out of this situation.
No.
How big is the opening? How big is the opening? Like the latch. How big is it?
No, you are not going to take this from me. He's either catching the rope or a shield. You're going to take this from me.
Because I was thinking, if he falls enough, he can just like, all right, guys, I'm just going to take a long rest here, like just for eternally, just be falling. So he's going to take a long rest.
Yeah, you might sense undead.
Yeah.
So is Roland going to try to grab a hold of the rope?
I don't know. Does falling count as strenuous activity? Because I'd be doing that.
That's such an interesting question. You're sitting there for 15 minutes just falling, and you're like, I've had a rest. Yay!
Nobody is going to answer the strap question. Okay.
We don't want. If you hit him with a shield, it's going to be like a D4 plus 75.
No, what I'm saying is
it's going to splinter your shield.
I'm holding the rope so he can grab a hold of it, or dangle it so he can get a hold of it.
Yeah. Let's try that. Let's just dangle the rope down just so that way he can just reach out and grab it, and hope and pray to God he doesn't accidentally grab the dwarf.
Wait a minute! I have another idea. I'm going to dangle my 60-foot rope down the hole and tie it off like a pole, so he can slide it. He can slow himself down like that.
I'm falling through all of this, watching them now try to take the plan that I was just like, try this, and they're like talking about it still.
So does the rope?
What
Does the rope tie to itself?
And in the falling, what is the man's name we're trying to meet?
Uther?
Uther, please let us out.
Hey, I'm at least tying 60 foot of rope for you to have a break if you can just grab a hold of it.
60 foot of rope. You need 30 because the room's only 30 foot tall. And once it goes in the room from ceiling to floor, the rope is there permanently.
Oh,
That is awesome.
well, I still got a hold of the rope anytime
Right,
now.
so that's there. You can determine what that does. Meanwhile, Jules is taking out some oil that he has in his pack. And what he's going to do is he's going to try and paint one of the white doors with black oil to see whether walking through a non-white door is going to make any difference.
So you paint the door and you walk through?
Yeah.
So when you step through on the other side, what race is Roland?
High elf.
So you see this elf falling so fast, so often. You see a dwarf trying to feed a rope through the floor, and you see a dragonborn trying, like, having the other end of the rope, feeding it to him, and then you see this mechanical man holding this fire in his hand. Make a perception check, Jules.
Okay. I got a 14.
So this fire in Sorrow's hand is creating smoke, and smoke is drifting up, passes up through the top latch, but it is not coming out of the floor.
Okay. And the rope that is being fed, is that also coming down from
It is coming down.
there? All right. But Roland is also falling through that hatch, correct? Over and over and over again. All right. So Jules will say, I think we need to climb the rope. But before we do that, we gotta stop rolling, because otherwise he's gonna hit us, and that's not gonna be pretty.
Nope. It won't.
Well, I still have the rope, and he hadn't grabbed a hold of it. Or tried to, because I'm holding on to it, just waiting for him to get a hold of it.
So what I do is I've got a spare. Actually, I'll take off my cloak, and I'll lay it as he falls. Just as he falls through the floor, I lay the cloak over the hole, and that way, when he comes back down, he will contact the cloak, and he'll be able to use it to wrap around the rope, so that he's not using his skin to hold onto the rope. He can use the cloak, and yes, it will still burn, but it will at least perhaps give him advantage or help him with this fall. And so when he comes down, he will just go into the cloak, and he'll be able to use it if he wishes.
I would absolutely appreciate that. You'll also see that I've, at this point in preparation, I take my tunic, pull it, the back of it over my head. So now all I have is it on my arms and over my chest, and I pull the sleeves down and around my hands.
Cool. So you've got your own sleeve, and then you've got my cloak, and those are wrapping around the rope.
And what do you need me to roll?
Make an athletics check.
All right, I'm going to take a bonus action real quick, and real quick, in the middle of falling, I go,
Oh my God! I just had a silly idea. Like, you're falling, right? And you're like, how he reaches out. It's like you fall, and like exactly what you're reaching for is still in the place it was. So it's like as you're coming by, you're trying to reach for it.
oh, I'm so not happy with this.
Good luck.
Yeah. Woo! 14.
All right, so you have this rope. Good thing that a sharp-dressed man gives you a cloak that is not made of inferior material. And your cloak and sleeves, almost immediately, since they're rags anyway, just seem to just fray and split. But Jules is holding tight. And so it is slowing your descent. Another athletics check.
15.
Cool. So you continue to slow the last. So now you're still coming down pretty quick, and you think that maybe 4 or 5 more times through, you could be moving slow enough to, or something, or you could wait an undetermined amount of rounds to completely stop on the rope itself.
I'm gonna wait. What I'm waiting for is slow enough that I feel like I could reach out and brace myself before falling back through the hole.
Okay. So you feel yourself getting close to a speed that you feel comfortable with. Just a strength save or check. Let's do check. Flat strength.
15. Since you
Cool.
made it a
So
straight
you sit there.
save or check, I don't get a bonus.
No bonus. Sorry. You sit there and you reach out, and this hole is maybe 4 feet across. So your wingspan is enough to be able to.
Oh, I'm very
branch
aware
out.
how narrow this is.
And you guys see him as he kind of lands above. His feet are dangling, but you guys can all see him just sitting there holding himself on the sides with his arms stretched out on the floor of him at the bottom and the bottom half of him at the top.
I will reach down and give him a hand back to the floor.
Yeah, I've never asked this, but once he pulls him out, I look up through the top latch, just kind of like look up at it as best as I can. I'm not going to put myself in any sort of danger of doing what Rowan did.
Okay, yeah, it looks like a white room above you.
Do I see anybody near it? Because I know there's got to be some people near it while this is taking place, and they're getting him up, and I'm just kind of like,
If you're watching Roland get pulled up by Jules, you see the legs kind of disappear into this misty, like you don't see the top of Roland above you. And you can't see Jules leaned over helping him up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So when I pull him up, I say, well, that wasn't such a great idea, but we managed to pull you out. So what I think is that someone that's good at climbing needs to shimmy up this rope and not fall, because falling, we know what that does. And see what's up there.
All right. Well, considering Argos has a pretty decent athletics, he looks at what just happened to freaking to Rowan. He's like, and he just kind of just shakes his head because he knows if he falls, he knows what's going to happen.
With the rope hanging down from above, Roland shuts the hatch.
On the bottom one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah.
So the rope now is. Go ahead.
It is pinched all up to the side where the hatch would close, where it opens. It's pinched on this side.
All right. Well, climb check. Ooh, 19. It's a very sexy number. 19.
Yeah, you quickly shimmy up this thing, and now you are, and everybody else can see that the rope is taut on the bottom as well as where he's got a hold of it. But now, Argos, your head is right below the top hatch.
All right. Well,
open the hatch for him now.
Okay. The hatch above you opens.
all right. I step up through it.
Yeah, you pull yourself up and out, and you are standing in front of the gate, and you are kind of right between your stance is that unfolded box with a rope now in your hands that seems to disappear into this very pure white.
Am I able to stick my hand through?
No.
Okay. I whistled down there. Like whistle like down into the box.
You guys hear nothing.
No. But we see him go up there, we see him disappear, and he doesn't come back through the bottoms.
But
Correct.
if Argos is now outside of the box holding the rope, what is Clyde's character holding on to?
Doesn't have the rope. Or Clyde, are you also climbing? The rope is still hung and taut between the top and the bottom of the room.
So I can see the rope, right? Like the rope that I climbed out of?
Yeah, it seems to be anchored to a side of this box.
Okay. So what I do is I grab of the rope that I can and kind of like tug on it.
Everybody sees the rope kind of almost like a fishing line. It, jiggles real fast.
I'll try to climb the rope then.
Okay.
I will close the latch so he doesn't fall again.
I grab the rope and slide slowly down onto the closed latch with my whole 3. I step back, gesture to the rope. Somebody else.
Okay. I'll try.
Yeah, Sorrow. Oh, go ahead. Okay. Sorrow will grab onto the rope and he'll lift the bottom hatch, opening the top hatch, and he'll put his feet on it and slide down until he comes through the top completely, and then he climbs up and out.
Smart.
I got a 21 on my a 20. Yeah.
So as Sorrow gets out, the door closes again, and you climb up, and now your head is right there by the top.
And Jules will pat Roland on the shoulder and he'll say, "It's all right. If you just try again, you will remember just how to climb that rope perfectly." And I'm going to give him help.
So, Gardane's pressed up against it, and I'll say, "Could somebody open the latch so I can get out?"
I got my check. Yeah, we open that. I get my check, so you get advantage and you get +2 on both of your rolls as well.
Sweet, that's a 9 on the die and then a 20.
Oh.
So 24.
Cool. You, with the spirited cheerleading from below, you climb up to the top hatch.
When I get up to the top, I tell them, open it, and then I'll look down and go, "Just hold on to the rope. I think we can try to pull you out." And I'll climb the rest of the way out.
Cool. So from your vantage point here, Argos, you have seen Sorrow pop out, and then Gardane, and now Roland. But yeah, so
Yeah, I'm waiting for the other one to come out.
Okay. I'm gonna do what if I hold on to the rope. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, look, I'll try and hold on to the rope and see what happens when they pull.
And I give to like the count of 15 and then start pulling on the rope.
cool. So the rope from where you are inside, you can actually see where it's tied on. Well, I guess where the two tips are, up and down. So you are getting pulled.
All right.
Eventually, you get to the top latch.
I'll open it up and see if I can climb out.
And you pop out, and as soon as you get out, the box folds back into being a box itself, and it shrinks down, and with a light pop to it's a 4-sided key. So the teeth that would normally stick out from the key and point downward, it's actually pointing in all 4 directions on the ground. And that one of those vertical sliding doors opens up, and the guard steps to the side, and then ushers and points inward.
I'm very cautious of just walking and stuff now. But anyway, continue going.
I'm going to pick the key up if I can and take it with us.
Yep. Okay. Cool. So are you guys all going in?
Yeah.
Cool. So you guys walk in, and as soon as you step inside, the entire interior, though it's inside of a building, you can see a lot of roofs, a lot of rafters and things like that. But this place otherwise is wide open with just beams kind of holding it up. You see all kinds of people all decked out in the red, black, and blue all over the place. Some of them have, normal clothes on with a sash regarding these colors. Some of them have bandanas on. Some of them have full outfits. But they're all over the place. And one of the guards turns and says, "Head to the center, take the shaft down. Uther's waiting."
Do as instructed.
So as you guys get over there, you get to this these metal rods that seem to be crisscrossed and interlinked, and essentially what it is an elevator. It comes to the top, it settles, and then a door slides from left to right open.
Uther?
I'll step in there.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I step in there. Yeah.
Following suit.
Yep.
As soon as all of you get there, another guard reaches over and cranks the door closed, and then slaps a button on the side, and you guys begin to slowly descend downward. Eventually, you kind of see that entry level site disappear above you, and you just see lights kind of jutting in from the sides. Ultimately, you get down to the bottom. The door comes open, and it's a fairly dark room, but there seems to be a light on the far side emanating, and standing kind of blocking this light. And so all you see is just this black silhouette.
I'll continue walking on. Step off the elevator and go that way.
As soon as everybody steps out, go ahead, Eric.
No, I was just saying, yeah, doing exactly, stepping out, going on.
As soon as all of you step out, the silhouette turns around, and torches light up from where you're at all the way down to the other end of the room where this man is standing. And it is the shaggy-haired, sort of unkept, bearded man, fairly tall. And he has this crest across that forms a V around his shoulders and down to his, I guess, his sternum. And it is red, black, and blue. Turns around once you can kind of see him, and he waves his hand, and that light source that was behind goes out. You've made it.
It would seem so.
Yes. Gardane, welcome.
Yeah,
Thank
our guys just, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Or yes.
And he slowly kind of greets each one of you, calling you by name. Just come
It's
into
you.
my light. And he kind of chuckles and says, yes, Roland.
Walking forward. I'm looking up at the information in my Rolodex of knowledge is going, this man knows who I am. How much can I figure out about him? Studying the room, studying him, studying what he's done. I am at a huge disadvantage with what I know right now.
I'll keep walking towards Uther.
Cool. So as you guys get a little bit in closer, you can kind of see this guy. He is. You guys feel at ease in his presence, and that's even if you were nervous, even if you were a little weirded out. As you get closer and closer to him, you just feel at ease. There's something about him that just soothes you, and says, "Well, you guys passed the tests. You guys are now initiates. Is this something that you want?"
Yes.
I've been waiting for quite a while for the call, so yes.
We've been waiting on you, Gardane.
To be honest, I don't know what you mean. I don't know why you would pick me.
Something you'll learn. Don't doubt your gifts. This is the stockade. Perhaps you have heard rumors. Perhaps you have heard tales and myths, legends. Not all of them are true. And he looks at you, Roland, and he says, but some of them are. He turns and he sees Jules, and he sees the hat, and he sees the outfit itself. And he looks, and you can see him kind of looking over your shoulder and then over the other shoulder. He says, "Where's your cloak?"
I left it in that room. I'm sorry.
Teamwork is a vital part of becoming a hero, especially the way that we operate around here. This is something you'll learn. Come, I want to show you all something. And as you get closer, he spins around, and you can now see he goes to the other side of this table, this circular table, and on it sits an orb, a crystal ball, if you will. And he waves his hand over the top of it, and it lights up first, and then it is essentially a blue light. And he says, "This is how I called you here. This is how you will all become heroes, whether to yourself, to your families, to your friends, to the world. This is the milestone. It
Oh,
allows me to communicate with people all over, and for them to reach out and communicate to me." Plan is what we do here at the stockade is we train and we put ourselves in the best position to be able to go out and handle the more dastardly issues that there are in this world, as many of you may or may not know. And he takes a second and he puts his hand and kind of rubs his temple. Well, as none of you know. And Jules, you get a little extra tingle because this is something that you're kind of familiar with.
All right.
Well, as you do not know, this world is full of danger. This world is full of more despicable people or good people with bad intentions. What we do here is we stop it. We any activity that may negatively affect existence, affect the people. And you are my newest, well, if you would have us, my newest team.
Argos nods.
I'll help.
Myself and Roland here, we were both uncertain coming out of the town, mostly because we saw the destruction that had been caused, and we both felt uneasy walking away from the people that had been affected by that and not immediately helping them. I understand that that you are here for a higher purpose, and you'll train us to do even greater things than that, but it did not feel right.
Granted, what you experienced, what West Rock experienced, it was the first of its kind in a very long time. Longer than, and he looks to the dwarf, and he looks to the elf. Since before your times, West Rock has been a safe place. It seems someone, and he kind of stops himself. I'm getting ahead of myself. Jules, trust me. I promise that for future endeavors, and he smiles for a minute, and then he kind of shakes his head and says, "You met Bravo, correct?"
Yeah, we saw him, yeah.
Yes, Bravo is a part of our elite squad. He, and you can see him kind of roll his eyes and have a hard time getting it out, and Craig are members of, and he smiles, the A-Team. He was on site before you realized what was going on. We sent help before there was an issue. This sort of thing is what I want you to be able to become. There are many people here that is our goal. To be heroes. To save people who cannot defend themselves, to protect those who are weak mind or body.
To help
If you do
those
not
who
wish
need
to
help.
stay. Yeah. To help those who need help and cannot get help. Roland, do you need help?
Well, I'm certain I will.
I am too.
I'm also quite certain that I have not gotten myself into as much trouble in my many years as I have with these three. And I have not needed as much help in those same years as since I've been around them.
The world is changing, Roland. And you can go back to your cave. Or you can be a part of that darkness from closing in. The choice is yours. I will not force you to stay. I only needed you to prove that you belonged here, and you all did.
And for those with great heart that aren't one of those that you have chosen to call, what of them?
Their time may still be yet. It is just not now.
And who are you to decide? Excuse my uppityness.
It's a fair question. I am Uther Cass. This is the stockade, and it is mine. Thus, I am the one who is to decide.
Jules shrugs and says, well, I guess I'll learn what that's all about. May we work with those who you have not chosen.
You may work with them, but they do not work with us.
Jules nods, says, well, okay. I will stay for the moment. I'd like to see more, see what is in store for us, and I want to help people. You know that, I'm sure. But this is all very new. Even though I knew that one day this might happen, it's all very hidden.
Yes, we have to keep our actions hidden so that those droves of people willing to do bad things do not know of us, or he's kept on their toes by us. And as for Esmeralda, and you feel again a tingle, her spot in line, the reason others have been called before her, what you just said is the reason she is not here yet. You want to help people. Esmeralda's main motive is to help herself. She looks for the glory right now. In time, there will be a place for her, and he sits there and he just rattles off names. Some of you recognize, some you don't. Thurnus, Og, Haralain, Yarzine. All of these people,
Yeah.
they cannot pass the test to be in yet.
You see you see a smile on Jules, and he says, this I know. I know the girl well, and I know that that she ain't scared to tell a fine tale of her accomplishments for her own good. She has a good heart, but you might be right. You might be right.
For now. But at some point, that will wash away, and that wall that keeps her outside of these walls will come down as well, assuming she proves herself. Gardain, a question for you.
Yeah. Yes.
You said you have been waiting. What have you been waiting for?
a chance to be more than just a blacksmith. I try to help the people around me, but I always seems to myself that I'm lacking. I can help people learn to forge steel, but it seems not to. It doesn't fulfill my desire to help.
Here, we will help to forge you. And he starts to walk towards the back of the room, and there's a big curtain, and he grabs one side, and he's slowly starting. It's a kind of a half circle on the back side of the room, and he's slowly starting to pull the curtain to the side. And behind it, you see these pods. And inside one of the pods, you see this halfling man who seems to be suspended in animation. And he stops, and he looks and lingers on that one for just a moment. And he continues walking. And he says, and he pauses, and he stops walking, and he kind of cocks his head. Argos, what of you?
What do you mean?
Why are you here?
I do not know. I am compelled to be here.
Well, I'll tell you why you're here. I gave you the call. I reached out to you. You have proven yourself worthy. However, I do bad news. That's the same response that you gave me last time. And he pulls the curtain, and finally it is completely wide open. And to the far left, suspended in animation, everyone, you all see this dwarf.
So
It says,
in the pod, hold on, I got you. So in this pod, there's a very large dwarf who has been told amongst the Firemantle clan that he died in combat, that he died serving a greater good, that his soul was sent to the Forge Father and to Gardain. This dwarf is known as Ulthane Firemantle. You know him as a pain in the ass, but he knows you as brother.
and Uther reaches out and beckons Argos over. And he says, and as Argos is walking over, he kind of steps to the side and he looks at the rest of you. And he says, there are many evils in the world. Some we can stop, some we cannot hope to. But we must still try. Sometimes on missions, things don't always go the way we hope. But in some certain situations, we are able to save the things we think that we have lost. And he looks at Argos and he says, please put your hands on the glass.
Argos walks over to it. Is like, why?
And says, there are those out there, again, speaking to the four of you, there are those out there that are aware of us and are quite ready for us to be gone of any sort of healing light. What we do is we protect others, we protect ourselves, and we protect our creed. And he puts his hand on the shoulder of Argaz, and he says, "This vessel was not meant for you." And the Dragonborn collapses, and this glass tube shatters outward, and almost like a slide slipping out is this dwarf. He says, "But you've made it home."
He, kind of dazed, almost like he kind of like spins around with his fist, like almost trying to punch anybody that's near him. And then he looks down at the Dragonborn, and he was like, "Argos." And he kneels down next to the Dragonborn and lays him on his back, and he says, "You sacrificed yourself, didn't you?"
Uther smiles, and he says, "Argaz was always my favorite." And he taps him on the head, and then he goes over this cage that seems to be hanging down, and it lowers, and he opens the door to the cage, and he picks up some sand that seems to be on the bottom, and he sprinkles it on the ground. And as he does this, Argaz shrinks to almost the size of just his head, and this tiny little dragon wakes, and he flaps his four wings and floats up and flies and lands in the cage, and he closes the door, and then the cage elevates up. And that's, I think, where we're going to end it.
That was awesome.
So thanks for playing, guys. I appreciate you guys suffering through a second game in the House of Shenanigans, but we did it. Fun doing it. I'll let these guys kind of give their sign out. So again, just the order that my cards are in. Gardain, you're up.
I will say, this is Clyde, and I've been your dwarf, and I will see you next time.
Roland.
Hey, I'm Jim Bob, and Roland is maybe not sure of what he's supposed to do here, whether he's gonna stay apart or not, but his curiosity is enough to keep him around for a while.
Jules.
I am Matt. I've been playing Jules, who is now cloakless and daggerless. But he, though he hasn't been waiting for this call, knew that it might come one day. And though it's kind of new to him, even though he kind of knew that it might happen, he's intrigued by the whole thing, and these people seem to have a good intentions, and so he is gonna stay and learn, and he has a new appreciation for certain things. So that is me. Thank you.
And the artist formerly known as Argaz.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will see y'all. I am Eric, and I will see you all next bat time, next bat channel, but as a dwarf pally.
Thank you so much, guys, again. And I think we're going to play again in 2 weeks, assuming that we don't have any issues. A little twist here, because at the end of the day, I enjoy playing. In 2 weeks, Jim is going to run a game, and it may include the same batch of characters. So tune in for that, because that'll be fun as well. And we'll see who I get to play. Hint, maybe you've met them.
No. No.
I say them on purpose.
Yep. He's got like 7 people he's going to play all at once.
Yeah.
He's not even the DM PC at that point. But dear God, he's going to take over the game. Cool.
So